What were you thinking when you went skydiving with Paris Hilton?
I can't wait to tell this story. Part of the reason why I understand myself so much better is because I finally understand my parents so much better. No matter how great your life is or looks or whatever, it doesn't mean that there still aren't things that cause you anxiety, fear, depression.
What did you learn about yourself after participating in Sober October in 2018?
One of the things I learned is I was entirely capable of doing it. And so is everyone. We are way stronger than we give ourselves credit for.
You got kicked in the nuts about 1,000 times, just like a lot of other very successful people. And I want to talk about that a little bit because it's easy to dive in on the successes, but can we talk about what actually got you to this point? And we will dive in on that. We will focus on a lot of the positives.
I would say that the most nut kickage that I received throughout my life was, unfortunately, and this is not an uncommon story, it was from my parenting or lack thereof. And you know, if you don't have really solid adults that are in charge of your life as a kid and able to like protect you and impart really like solid wisdom and love into your soul, where you really understand that and feel that and can then apply it to yourself. You learn to love yourself by your parents loving you unconditionally. If you don't ultimately receive that, then it's very difficult for you to then love yourself unconditionally throughout your adult life. You also, unfortunately, are very unaware of that. We are all incredibly unaware of the areas in which we are, let's say, mentally or emotionally lacking in our overall mental or emotional well-being. That's kind of the unfortunate rub of it, right? Like, if you don't know that you're not thinking correctly, then you don't know that you're not seeing correctly about what you're thinking incorrectly about. I mean, right. It's an incredibly crazy and powerful bad feedback loop that you can find yourself in sometimes. Having gone through all the therapy I've gone through now, thank God I've finally been able to understand not just myself better, but part of the reason why I understand myself so much better is because I finally understand my parents so much better. And not holding on to anger, not holding on to unforgiveness, not holding on to bitterness or sadness as it relates to my relationship with my mom or the lack of relationship with my dad. You really can finally let them go because you understand, oh shit, they were just doing the best they could with the bad programming that they got from their parents, who were just doing the best that they could based on the bad programming they got from their parents, and so on and so forth, ad nauseum into the past. We are all very much products of our environments and our realities. And so, yeah, I got kicked in the nuts a lot when I was coming up in life.
I think a big problem out there is that, you know, especially with social media nowadays and the perception of, you know, media and influence, they don't realize that, you know, everyone's got their own shit. You know, we all have it pretty good, but we all have our own shit. And at the time, it just seems like it's so big, you know?
Obviously, context and perspective are like two of the most important things that you should be searching for and practicing and applying in your life. I mean, the amount of gratitude that you can start immediately feeling just by stepping back and giving your life a little bit of context and a little bit of perspective in comparison sometimes to other people who are blind and being treated for cancer, who are living in a village in Africa somewhere that would do anything for clean water. I mean, there are so many ways in which we can compare our lives to other lives. So the reality is, no matter how great your life is or looks or whatever, it doesn't mean that there still aren't things that cause you anxiety, fear, depression, anger, stress, whatever those, sadness. You need to be able to process those things.
I want to talk to you about your training a little bit because, dude, you worked hard. I mean, there was, you know, there was nothing fluffy about what you actually did in the gym. You started training later on in your career, right? It wasn't something you were doing 15 years ago. But talk about your training regimen. I don't want to talk about it because it was something where, you know, you worked with some different coaches and there was consistencies and there was also things that each coach did a little bit differently. But talk about your experience and what you learned.
Every trainer has a slightly different view on training and on the human body and what, functional and not, and what's even, is the juice worth the squeeze, and the way that you and I would do squats, right? Mm-hmm. Like we were never doing backloaded squats together. Now I'm back into doing backloaded squats, and I love doing backloaded squats, but every trainer has a different view on ultimately how we're trying to get to our destination. It was kind of a weird, an interesting little phase there, because we knew that I was going to have to go back to Shazam and need to maintain as much of that, frame and mass as possible. But I had to do the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel that summer while we were doing all of that. So I couldn't exactly go and get even more jacked. I was already a little too large than they were hoping or thought I was going to be, I think. And on that show, when you're 6'4" and, large, you dwarf everyone. It is pretty funny. So, and also, just trying to get healthy. It was also around that time that I found out that I had a parasite. Remember, I just had weird bloating and stuff. And, she was like, go talk to this doctor in New York, Dr. Cahill. I did, had an amoeba, got that sorted out. That started helping, kind of settle things down a little bit. But then ended up getting, in April after the whole Shazam press tour, ended up getting SIBO, small intestine bacterial overgrowth. I've still been trying to work that stuff out. That's gnarly. You should definitely do a whole episode on that.
Yeah, it's a good,
because I've had to be eating this weird low FODMAP diet.
Yep.
And I won't even bother to explain. Do you know what FODMAPs are?
Yeah. So actually the food company I'm partners in, called Epicured, everything is low on the FODMAPs.
Then you're aware of the FODMAPs.
100%.
By the way, blows my mind. I had no idea that this was even something to be considered in food until I got this SIBO nonsense.
Most people don't.
It has been mind-blowing to learn so much about FODMAPs and what they're in and what they're not in. It's crazy.
100%. Yeah, it's really interesting. And it's a shame that so many people actually have those issues with food, and it's sad, but we have.
But why though? Why, Don? What have we done to our bodies that we can't break? Is it because we're altering food so much? Is it because
I think it's both?
We put too much bad crap in us that we can't digest correctly anymore?
I really think it's both. I really think it's a combination that food has become incredibly processed over the last 100 years, and we're not eating things in its natural form, and the gut and the digestive system and our technically our stomach, it's just like it's consuming things that are just really harsh. And, you start hearing term like leaky gut and, poor digestion, and you're getting in all that. Yeah, I think that has something to do with it. I've also seen that, it's interesting. I got a theory on this, and I probably shouldn't even be saying it to people, but I've got some friends that are really, really meticulous on what they consume. And they're always like trying to eat perfectly all the time. And I've actually found that in time, a lot of them actually end up developing issues. Like if they have something, they have really poor reactions because they never have it. I don't have that problem because I'll end up eating shitty once in a while, but I also don't have SIBO. I also don't have, if you have something like that, you got to abide by it. But I feel like if you're a parent listening to this, our children are resilient. And my kids at time might eat fast food. It just might happen. Like they're getting out at 9 p.m. and they got to be in bed by 10, and we're trying to get something in their stomach, and we're coming from a sport. So if they're having Wendy's once in a blue moon, fine. I mean, all in all, they eat really high quality food. Talk to me about Texas, because dude, you are, whether you want to admit it or not, man, you are a risk taker.
I bought property in Texas because I want to build essentially a new type of city, a new kind of community. If you will. And that comes from a couple of different things. One, ever since I was a kid, and I think you, Don, and anybody listening to this can relate to this, but ever since I was a kid, the idea of living in a cul-de-sac with all of my friends and family and everybody that I loved the most always sounded like paradise. It always sounded like heaven, like to never have to go to another city or even another neighborhood to see your family or your best friends and play pickup basketball all the time and go adventure. And everybody wants that kind of community. We all, I think, yearn for it and desire it. And we have slowly but surely continued to lose more and more and more and more of the concept of community the farther into the future that we've gotten. We've all become far more disjointed and not connected. And technology is a big part of that. Also, just, basically ever since we came out of World War II and we started the suburb culture, everyone kind of fucked off, and we don't live in close proximity to each other, at least anymore. I mean, when the suburb culture started, people used to be on their front porches and looking after each other's homes. And now we just don't see that anymore, right? So there's that's going on. But then on top of that, as soon as I started working in Hollywood and I got my first real look behind the curtain of how it all worked, I was immediately struck with, I have to fix this, because it was the most inhumane, inefficient situation I could possibly gander. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not good people that work in Hollywood. There are plenty of them, but I think the system is broken. In the same way that I think our political system is broken, in the same way that I think almost all industry is kind of broken, because I don't think that we value life anymore. We don't value it enough, certainly. We don't value human life. We don't value animal life. We don't value plant life. So all that combined, I want to essentially make a film studio that is also somewhere that people can visit, like a resort, but also there will be full-time living ability here as well for artists specifically, but also other people in other vocations that would want to live a better life. And that life might also be a much more minimalistic life, being able to downsize and get rid of a bunch of the shit that I think that we're all kind of programmed to buy. This season right now, we're all constantly being inundated with like, better get that, and you make sure you got that, and get everybody a present and all that stuff. And I know that, by the way, I'm even a part of that problem, or not problem, but programming in various things that I've done, let's say, that air on television. But the point is, I still very passionately believe that we need to start valuing the miracle that is life in general. And if we can value the life of this planet and the animals on it and each other more, and we can build industry that does that, then we can genuinely make the world a much, much better place.
Well, I can't wait. I mean, you've already invited me out there, and I am definitely going to take you up on it soon. I promise you on that. I cannot wait to see it. Now we're going to finish with one thing. We have something called the Wheel of Fun. We're going to ask you a few questions. We're going to see how spontaneous you can be with this stuff, but let's have some fun. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
A couple questions and then we're all done. Here we go. Still waiting to knock this thing over. Good. Are we good with that? Okay. 3 tips. Where the hell
3 tips?
Oh, no, hold on. I got the question here, right? So 3 tips. Can you give us 3 tips to improve your mental health on a daily basis?
Physical exercise.
Okay.
Meditation, specifically mindfulness meditation.
Do you meditate?
Or centering prayer.
Do you meditate?
I do. Not as much as I should.
Right.
I think that's almost anybody who meditates will probably tell you the same thing. But
me too.
And also for me personally, prayer, which is kind of also a meditative state for me, to be able to just go and spend time with God, whoever you see God to be.
Next one. That's one down. Ooh, what were you thinking? Okay, here we go. What were you thinking when you went skydiving with Paris Hilton?
I can't wait to tell
be honest.
Story. I mean, it was so surreal, man. Like it was super weird. My buddy Joel had done a movie with her, and they became friends. And then because of that, he got invited to her birthday party in Vegas. So I got invited, and we had a great time, and she was super cool. And I had randomly, drunkenly at like 3 a.m. brought up that I had been skydiving there before. And she was like, "Oh my God, that's so hot. We should do that." And I was like, yeah, totally. Let's do it in the morning. Never believing that she or anyone was going to be up in time to go and do it. And we got a knock, Joel and I, like at 7 a.m. Here we go. And we went.
Hungover.
Awesome.
That's petrifying. Next question. Okay, what did you learn about yourself after participating in Sober October in 2018? That you really like booze?
I already knew I like booze. That's why. That's one of the reasons I wanted to do Sober October. No, well, you know what? Honestly, I think that one of the things I learned is something that I've always wanted to believe about myself, and that I actually do believe about all of us. But it was good reinforcement, which is I was entirely capable of doing it, and so is everyone. We are way stronger than we give ourselves credit for.
Hell yeah! All right, next one. Almost there. I feel like this wheel's gonna break. Oh my God, I love this one. You have 15 seconds right now to give us your Oscar speech. You just accepted an Oscar. I don't know where it is. Here you go. There's your Oscar. 15 seconds, dude. I'm going to start counting. You ready? You're shaking your head like you're not going to do it.
Oh, I don't even need 15 seconds. You ready?
Set, go.
It's about time.
Everyone's laughing in the back room. I love it. Yes.
That's right.
It's about time. Let's go. We're going to close it out. This is our last one, man.
Almost knocked that over.
Oh, yeah. 3 tips. Didn't we do 3 tips? Yeah.
We did 3 tips.
You know what? Let's do this one. 1 movie role. One movie role or TV role that you've always wanted to play or you think you'd be perfect for? Stop thinking about this. I know you already know this.
I don't know, man. I mean, honestly, like, I think genuinely, like, as much as we might think that we're perfect or not perfect for certain things, that's really up to the audience or, those outside of us to kind of see that. Oftentimes, not that we can't have an opinion or that we shouldn't have an opinion, but knowing that you could be very wrong about the optics of, how you look or who you are,
right?
In certain cases. But I don't know, dude. Like, honestly, I want to play, and this is one of the reasons I was kind of gutted about not getting Star-Lord and Guardians. But 2 of my favorite characters of all time are Han Solo and Indiana Jones, and I want to play my Han Solo and Indiana Jones characters, whatever those ultimately are going to be. I don't need to play Han or Indy, but something in that wheelhouse.
You would be great Han fill-in and Indiana fill. I'm looking at it right now. I see some Han and Indy in you right now. So that's pretty awesome.
Great.
I'm proud of you. Well, listen, man, I can't thank you enough for your time, brother. I mean, really, it's been amazing getting to know you over the last 2 years and now seeing what you're doing. The risk that you're taking is all for a good cause. Okay. You're doing a good thing. To see where your career is going couldn't make me any more prouder. Could you let everyone know what's your IG handle? It's just Zach Levi.
At Zachary Levi's, all my handles, yeah.
And what's your any new project besides what you got going on? Any new movie roles or anything?
Well, at Zachary Levi, at FlowSups,
yes.
FlowSups, and then FlowSups.com is where you can go check out all of our stuff. What else? At Camp Wildwood, and also there's a Wildwood, WYLDWOOD. That's kind of this resort situation we're trying to build out here. It's not open to the public yet, but
it will
follow,
be. Right.
Get updates and fun little pictures and videos, and then eventually, that's where all the information will be disseminated. What else? I don't know. Yeah, nothing else really. Just, I don't know. But I'll give you updates as they come.
Perfect. Reps viewers, I'm very happy about having Zachary Levi on. My Instagram handle at Don Saladino. If you have any questions, fire them off to Zach and I at reps@muscleandfitness.com. Thanks again. Zach, you're an absolute just legend, man. Love you, brother. Thank you for it. All right, man. I'll see you when you're back in New York. All right. Thanks.